Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today we're going to be taking a look at a fixed blade. Now, I normally am a folding knife kind of guy, but this here is the TFK T17.4 designed by Eric Outer. You can see his logo right here from Outer Limitless. This here is coming in from the Black Widow pass-around group. Eric was nice enough to donate one of the knives to the group to be used and abused and sent around, so I just got this not too long ago from Stevie Wonder Woman. I will tag Stevie's channel down in the description below. And you'll also have access to TFK's site and Eric's social media down below. Now, this is a fixed blade, obviously, as I've said before. This is number 7 of the run here. I don't know how many were made. Comes with a nice molded leather sheath with a dangler that you can come take off if you want, if it's not your thing. That's actually how I preferred to carry it, but you'll see with the usage video that it will be attached with this. I mostly carried this actually in a sweatshirt pocket, but I did pocket carry it a few times using the Ulti clip on here, and it did just fine for that. So really quickly, before I talk about the sheaths a little bit, because I don't talk about that within the use, I do have some paperwork from Eric that came with this. Let me show you first his business card here. You can see Outer Limitless, Eric Outer. You can see his contact, everything here. You know, so if you want to see the platforms he's on, you can see that, as well as this email. This one here is Extreme Customs Kydex. Extreme Edge Custom Kydex. So Mark Irving here, he made the sheath for this. So you can see his contact info on there down in the bottom corner. And just a nice little business card. And then of course you have the TFK, the 10 of Family Knives, their website, email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, which is Outer Limitless here. And then you can see it's a fixed blade, skeletonized tang, overall length of 8.4 inches. The steel is 1.2379, which is essentially like a powdered D2. There's more in, I do have a little information sheet here on the side that I'll get into. You have a 4-inch blade. You have a thickness of 0.16 inches, a 1.06 inch width, and the hardness is right around 5960 HRC. And this was number 7 from the run, as I said. So before we get into anything else, let me just read through this little information sheet, because this is what's going to go to everybody. So included is the knife, the Kydex sheath, the leather sheath, everything you saw here. So it's Eric's design from Outer Limitless, manufactured by TFK, who is in Bulgaria. It's a mid-tech, so it's not going to be fully handmade, but some of the parts are finished. Some of the parts are machined. Everything, though, is hand-finished, hand-assembled, and hand-sanded. TFK also makes the leather sheath, which is also available in brown if black is not your thing, as well as left-handed. As I already said, the Kydex sheath was made from Extreme Edge Custom Kydex. Everyone is going to be serialized. They have an acid stonewash finish. Black burlap micarta by ML Epoxy Labs is the maker of these micarta scales, and they are fantastic. White G10 liners on these. This is really the best burlap micarta I've ever handled. I will get into that momentarily. I did read you the length overall, 3.75 inches for the cutting edge specifically, and for a handle length of 4.375 inches. So plenty of grip area for a good amount of blade. Designed to be a general belt knife, EDC fixed blade. You can do bushcraft stuff. You can do other kinds of things with it, but it is mostly just a kind of an all-arounder for purpose-wise. It's not, meant for bushcraft. It's not meant for kitchen work. It's not meant for anything in particular with a saber grind, but it is certainly capable of doing everything. So I just want to show you this really quick in hand. I wear a large size glove. You can see I just have a little bit of a butt sticking out here, but it fits my hand really well, and these little areas up here, or that dimple in for the thumb and pointer finger, make for really great points if you want to use a pinch grip or something like that, which is great for like food prep. And you'll see in a clip in just a moment that I did cut up an onion with this, and it performed really well. Now, the micarta scales are awesome. They are really comfortable, and they have a great texture to them. The thing about burlap a lot of times is it gets over polished. You'll see knives that have burlap micarta, which I'm going to pull another fixed blade out here. This is the Monterey Bay Knives Field Trekker. And this is also a burlap micarta, but there's really no texture to this. It's very smooth. It's not as smooth as, like a plastic or something like that, but there's certainly no raised fibers or anything that you can feel in terms of machined texture or just natural texture coming from the micarta. But this has a really nice milled pattern into it that provides a lot of grip and a lot of texture to this, really making this micarta feel great in hand and really comfortable to use. The handle thickness is great. It's not too bulky, and it just fills out the palm enough that it's very comfortable to use in a nice tight hammer grip, or if you're just going to be doing more EDC type stuff, having it more out in the fingers versus deep in the hand is perfectly fine and comfortable too. One other thing that I do want to point out about this knife is that the spine is ground completely, so you have 90-degree edges for ferro rod striking. You can see the wear marks here from where I did that, and you will be seeing some usage of that in the following clips. So yeah, really, really nice overall. Very happy with the use that I got out of this. And I will roll in some footage now. You're going to see some batoning, some just fire making, some outdoor stuff, and then I will come back with my concluding thoughts. Alright, so I just decided to chop up an onion here. I'd already halved the onion and just doing some thin slices, and this took care of it really with no issues. You see it's passing through no problem. My biggest issue was just myself keeping the onions from stacking up too much. You can see I hit the one right there, but otherwise it cut real nicely. Didn't have any issues doing some slicing with this, and these are some fairly thin slices. I hold them up to the camera here in a second, and it's not the easiest to see, but they're not paper thin by any means, but they're pretty good and what I would call acceptable for this application completely. And the blade obviously looks fine. There was of course onion juice on it, and it is a D2 composite type of not composite, but a D2 type, so definitely want to wipe that off, prevent any potential rusting. The onions were to pair up with a steak here that I had seared off. Actually, I had cooked this the night before and had just reheated this, and for whatever reason I decided to leave the onions on top when I cut it, which you'll see in a second. I think it's a stupid decision, and I take the onions off the top while I slice the steak. This cut really well. There was enough bite on that edge to help get through the steak, no problem. And it had seen some use at this point. I tried to record a video for this knife like 3 or 4 times prior to getting this one together, so this had done a lot of feather sticking and some very small batoning jobs already, but yeah, it still had a really good edge and it performed really well regardless of that. So slicing the steak up nicely, and finally once I got through the steak, I plated it up nice and pretty like. Alright, and getting into some actual use of the knife here for its intended purposes. This is sped up to 4 times the speed, and you'll see me do a couple different things here. Mostly deal with the puppies in the background. I kick the tennis ball a lot, so you'll see some weird steps aside, and you'll see me throw stuff, but just ignore that. That is just me entertaining the dogs while I awkwardly try and baton, and before I switch hands. And doing a lot better here. For whatever reason, left-handed batoning is a lot easier for me. So that's what I end up switching to here in a second when I come back. And I also switched to a much more reasonably sized piece for this knife. You'll see as I switch here, now we have no real issues. So it was not the knife having any kind of problem. It was just me. And if you can't tell, I don't do this a lot. So you'll see I miss a few times. I definitely don't support the wood the right way. I have it kind of blow out the side like it did on that previous cut, the previous split. Bushcrafting type things are not something that I normally do. You guys know that I'm really just an EDC guy. I cut up cardboard and I cut up, things like even thinner cardboard or thicker cardboard. Yeah, and that's real helpful. Yeah, tape, paper, thin plastics, things like that. So this is not my forte, but I will say I have done this before using things like the MBK field trekker, as well as a Mora companion that I have. And both of those knives are meant to be outdoors type knives, whereas this is kind of a do-it-all knife, which as you heard me say earlier, but it certainly did function well, and you can see me messing around with it here and putting it in the wrong spot. But it batoned really well. It was comfortable in hand. It split the wood down, no problem. And this stuff was a little bit wet from sitting out in the snow. Even been covered on the porch here, but had been previously exposed to the elements. So it did a pretty good job though overall, and I was real happy with it. Not too marked up, so it's pretty good. Here's a closer look at the blade after that in natural light. I know this is going to be all washed out because of the snow, but hopefully you can see that it's really not any scratching or anything, and that the edge looks solid. I know it's hard to see. And we got the puppies chilling in the snow. So I'm going to take care of the dogs here, and then I'm going to go get some fire making stuff, and we're going to start a little fire with this guy as well. All right, excuse the shitty camera angle. I got the TFK, Cooksa, some hot chocolate mix, and a spoon. And in my little pot here, I keep some fire starting stuff. And I've never actually used any of this, which you'll be able to tell by the completely clean pot here. But I'd like to, so that's what we're going to do today. I have some stuff stored nicely in a baggie, including a lighter and a ferro rod, which you can't see, but they are in there. Small ferro rod. I have a larger one somewhere, but I kept the small one in there apparently. While I went inside to grab that stuff, the dogs took some of the wood and took it out in the snow, which is all right. So definitely want to split some of this down into some smaller kindling, get some smaller pieces, you have pencil size stuff. Tucker, leave it. Hey. Sorry, they're going to be a bother the whole time. So, but anyway, small stuff. Got that. And yeah, I'm on my knees here. This is just a small platform. The ground is, 8 inches below that or whatever. I'm not going to be starting the fire on here for obvious reasons. It's attached to a structure. But I will be having it down here on the ground, which I'll make sure to bring you guys in so that you can see it. First things first, let's use the spine of this knife to make some scrapings. It's a 90-degree spine. So this works really well for scraping. Hey, get away. Back off. Leave it. Hey, leave it. Drop it, dude. Really? They are puppies. They need to work on listening. Stop it. Go away. Tucker. All right, so we'll just stop there. That's a good little pile of shavings. Don't know if you'll be able to see those, but they're very fine. Very fine shavings. I just kind of wanted to show that off. Now we'll do a few little feathers, a few little curls. Tucker, back off, dude. Now this just has a standard V-edge. It's not meant for bushcraft or anything like that. It's just meant to be both an outdoor and EDC type knife. This is how it was described, and you can hear the trash truck coming. Lovely ambient noises for the viewers here, for you guys. So some nice little curls. Dogs are leaving my stuff alone, thankfully. Just pop this guy off. Let's try not to send it flying. There we go. Alright. Let's see. I want to be able to do this somewhere you guys can see. So I'm going to put it on here for now. And once these little guys are going, I'll move it. I have some shavings up here. I'm going to put these feathers down as well. And let's grab that little ferro rod. I have used this before, so it's gotten some striking done on it, and I'll use the spine of the knife. You can see sparks. So let's give this a shot. Hey, back off. Back up. I probably don't have nearly enough shavings or anything here. Yeah, and I'm knocking them off because this wood's not very stable, so that's not going to help me. Let's try and gather up a little bit more material. A little bit more easily combustible material anyway. Alright, that's a much better little pile of shavings here, of scrapings. So let's try that. Tucker, he stole my wood. Got a little bit almost. This wood has been sitting outside, so it's a little wet. Hey, knock it off. Alright, well, it strikes a ferro rod nicely. That's, I think it's the best I'm going to do. So I'm just wiping off that burn residue. That'll come right off. Wiped off pretty easily. Really not much marks on the spine. let's just grab, and I didn't use any of the fire starting stuff either, but trusty old Bic lighter. That's even not burning that well. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I don't feel as bad now. That didn't work. I mean, yeah, these guys are having trouble with direct flame. So, once this gets going, I will tune you guys in. Alright, so after quite a little while, I finally have a small fire going. Yeah, it took a lot more work than I thought it would with the wet wood, and I just did not have enough kindling or anything prepared. Let's show you the knife. I did wipe off most of the marks from the ferro rod, which I ended up using a Bic lighter anyway. But you can see the spine here has some marks from it. But they, of course, will wipe right off if I were to clean this with like some water and a rag. And I've been batoning to make some smaller pieces there to go around the pot. And it's still looking good. Still performing really well. So nicely done so far by TFK and Outer Limitless. Not outdoor, outer. Make sure I get it right. There is the logo. Hopefully you can see that. Alright, this isn't the best camera angle, but hot chocolate. Cold day here in southeastern PA. I realize now I didn't film much of the water boiling. I melted down some snow. I know it's not the cleanest, but I really don't care. It came up to a nice boil and for a couple minutes. So even if there's shit in there, it's clean. I don't do this stuff a lot, so I'm happy that it came out. You know, it worked. The fire, the knife was fantastic. I have it sheathed here in the pocket, but this is really great. This TFK. I want to make sure I get the model right because I keep forgetting it. You know, numbers do that to me. So it is the T17.4. So it's performed really, really well so far. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. One of the things, let me get this out of the way. One of the things I wish that I did was use the lid to the pot when I boiled up the water. That would have made things a lot easier. Hi, puppy. Come here. Puppies are being crazy. But yeah, anyway, this is really hot, so hopefully I don't burn the shit out of myself as my nose is leaking. Really good, really hot. I'm gonna enjoy this hot chocolate and enjoy the puppies, but the TFK T17.4 designed by Eric Outer from Outer Limitless. Yes, Outer Limitless. I always mess it up. I butcher it. I'm sorry, Eric. Really, really great. It fits super well in the hand. You guys are gonna top down after this little segment here, so yeah, really great. And I'll give you my final thoughts here in just a second. All right, so you've seen me use this knife. You can see that it took a little bit of a beating for sure. Baton through a good amount of stuff and really worked really well. No edge damage with this steel. Like I said, it's like a D2. The ferro rod striking was great. I'm not great at it, but it did a good job. That 90-degree spine makes a huge difference. And of course, really, really comfortable in the hand the entire time. So just really well done, and it worked really well for what it is. And if you're gonna be using this for just EDC tests, it's gonna do a fantastic job. Yes, it has a thick blade stock, but it's got a decently thin grind that can cut through cardboard and things like that pretty easily. And as you saw, it handled the onion just fine. No issues making nice cuts with that. Some final thoughts here on the sheath. I want to say I really like the TFK leather sheath that it came with. The Dangler works great. It's easy to draw. I think part of that is this round clip that holds the Dangler onto the belt loop. And you can see this sits very nicely in here. It's not coming out. It's not going anywhere. You can shake this. You know, it's seated all the way down to here. Plenty of knife to grab onto and pull out of the sheath, and it releases nice and easy, and as I said, stays in really well. So that was my preferred way to carry it when I did have it on my hip. However, I did end up carrying it in my sweatshirt pocket, as you can see in usage videos, inside of this Kydex sheath here. And now, as well as the Kydex sheath fits, it's not my favorite kind of Kydex. What I mean by that is, I like my knives with Kydex to have a snap and to kind of snap out. I want them to snap in, snap out, so I know it's nice and secure. This is just a little bit mushy with a little bit of play in how it can be inserted at this point. So I had times where I would try and put this into my pocket, and I had it too much this way, had to fiddle with it too much this way, had to fiddle with it before I could eventually get it lined up right and get it pressed the rest of the way into the pocket. I think a more rigid construction with some way of clipping in would be ideal, though I don't know enough about making Kydex sheaths and the way the presses work and the way that retention works that would be possible to do with this handle. I'm not sure if that's the limitation or if it was just the design choice with the Kydex here. But it does fit very snugly and very nicely. I just wish it snapped in and out and had a little bit more direction going in, so you didn't have that kind of play and guessing game while getting this into the pocket. Because if this sheath is dropped in my pocket and I have this hanging out, I don't want to stab my leg. I don't want to cut through my pants either. So to be able to get that in the right spot every time is important, and just something that I noticed while using this. Ulti clip works great, kept it secure to the pants, no problem, and I at no point mounted this to a vest, but you have the option to mount it to molly webbing or whatever it might be on a backpack using that the clip here on the back. So overall, really, really well done by TFK and a great design by Eric Outer. Super comfortable and just a really good knife overall. I mean, if you're looking for a 4-inch everyday carry fixed blade, this is great. It can handle those outdoor tasks, and it can definitely handle the EDC tasks with absolutely no problem. And this D2 variant, after getting wet in the snow and cutting onions and stuff, has had no issues at all with rust or anything and has held a great edge. So just a good knife overall. I'm not a fixed blade guy, but I did give this a run for its money for being a folder kind of guy. So it gets a seal of approval from me. And yeah, once again, really well done by Eric Outer from Outer Limitless and TFK here. So I'm going to wrap it up now, and this is going to be sent over to Big Red EDC next. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say about it. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.